Hi, my name is Laura Fenn, and I'm the creator and executive director of The Walking Classroom. Thank you for taking a few minutes to learn more about our nonprofit program. During this presentation, I'm going to give you a bit of the history of The Walking Classroom, tell you a little bit about how it can be implemented in your own classroom, and finally, I'm going to tell you about how you could get your own set of materials, maybe for free. So I've been a teacher for the last 15 years, and the idea for the Walking Classroom came to me a few years ago while I was teaching 5th grade. I had had a particularly rough day, and I came home and I desperately needed some fresh air and exercise. So I put on my sneakers, grabbed my MP3 player that was loaded with educational podcasts, and headed outside for a walk. After about 5 minutes, it hit me. My students could do this. Here I am, outside. My mood is improving. I'm walking, I'm listening, I'm learning. I want my students to experience this. So the next day, I wrote a grant and started developing what is now the Walking Classroom. My students loved it. Every day, they would bound into my class asking, "Are we going to walk today? Are we going to walk today?" We started walking, and I knew that my students were benefiting from the fresh air and exercise that our daily walks provided. But what I hadn't anticipated was how this method of walking, listening, and learning would so beautifully address the often neglected learning styles of my kinesthetic and audio learners. I'll tell you a story about Michael. We all have a Michael in our class, perhaps several. Michael was a sweet child and wanted to do well in school, but the poor guy had such terrible ADHD that he spent his entire day trying not to get in trouble. Usually off task and unable to focus, the other students would roll their eyes when Michael was assigned to their group. Needless to say, Michael didn't view himself as smart, nor did the other students. The first time we did the Walking Classroom, we came back to the regular class, and I asked the students to tell me about what they had learned. My traditionally smart students, their hands shot up and they started to tell me details about Benjamin Banneker and his life, and for the most part they did pretty well, but a few of the details got blurred, several things were left out, and I noticed Michael was in the back of the class, sort of sitting there thinking, looking like this, and I called on him and I said, "Michael, can you tell me what you remember about the podcast?" That child gave such an amazingly coherent and synthesized summary of the podcast. I was shocked. The other students were shocked. I think Michael was sort of shocked. The next day, the same thing happened. And by the following week, my students' perception of Michael had completely shifted. Instead of rolling their eyes, they now looked forward to what Michael had to say. They wanted to know what he was thinking. More importantly, Michael's self-perception changed. Whereas before he had never really considered himself a learner, now that other people were seeing him as smart, and he was seeing himself as smart, his academic confidence soared. He began to try harder in all areas, and even though he still struggled with ADHD, I realized that Michael and other kinesthetic learners like him, once this was taken care of and he was able to get his jiggles out, he was really able to focus on the content at hand. Michael's end-of-grade test scores were higher than they had ever been. And that's what we hope to accomplish today. Classrooms full of kids who benefit from walking, listening, and learning. Other teachers who have used the Walking Classroom report that after walking, their students are refreshed, in brighter moods, and better able to focus on the day's work ahead. Thank you so much for your interest in the Walking Classroom. We hope to hear from you soon. Happy trails!